I think I am audible to everyone. So today we discuss this probability random processes. So we already discussed this random variable, and in random variable we assign some real value to every sample point. In the case of random processes, we assign a signal to or a time function to every outcome of the sample space. So for example, you can see this random process or stochastic process, we say. So here you can see there are three sample point in the sample space, this one. And S1, S2, S3 are three sample points from the sample space. And we assigning a time function known as XTS3 to this, and that is this wave. This. And then to S2 we are assigning another wave, and for S1 we are assigning this green color wave. So earlier we are assigning each and every sample point a real number, and that one is known as the random variable. If we assign a wave or a time function to every sample point of the sample space, then the process is known as the random process or stochastic process. And this you see this x t belongs to j. Actually, this one representing the random process. So this is the notation. This bracket x capital xt comma t belongs to j. This notation we use to represent random processes. And here we are understood that this is representing this kind of these sample points are included here. So for now we write in a general form, this is actually equal to this one, this random process x t comma s such that t belongs to j, where j is the index of time. It may be continuous, it may be discrete. If j is having countable number of points, then it is known as a discrete process. Otherwise, it is if j is a subinterval of a real line or interval, then it is known as continuous time process. So discrete time process and continuous time process depend on this set j. If j is a subset in the form of subinterval like 0, 1, or 2, 3, or whole real line, then it is a continuous time process. And if j is like a countable, like a finite or like infinite set, like a set of integer or set of natural number, then the process is known as continuous time random process. So here this XTS. So in this XTX, T belongs to J and S belongs to X. So this bracket, actually we will write when we well understood this process like this. T belongs to J, and we know that the S belongs to S is already there. So either I write this in full form or I will write this in the short form, but the meaning is same. So if I write xt comma t belongs to j, it means s is always there, where t comma s and s is also belongs to the sample space. So this is a short form notation of the random process, and this is like a full form of this. Then the application of random process, like if I speak something or I say the same word mathematics and record each and every time because as a human my voice is recorded in a different way. So to this kind of the speech waveform is recorded by a microphone. This can also contain this random processes. The signal received by communication receiver. This is also or the daily stock record or stock market data represent the random variable that change with the time. So this actually examples of the random process. So again, we are actually define some terminology related to the random processes. So obviously, this is the sample space you can see here, and this S containing the point S1, S2, Sn, and these are the waveform. So S1 is going to this waveform, S2 is going to this waveform, and Sn is going to this waveform. So the set of all sample functions or realization is called ensemble. So it means like if I consider all these together, this, all this together, then I say this is the ensembles. And if I take about this single waveform, then it is known as realization. A general random or stochastic process can be described as the collection of time functions or signals corresponding to various outcomes of the random experiment. Either we can say like this or we can say like this, collection of random variable observed at different times. So how this becomes a random variable, I show this earlier in this figure, the sample point S1, S2, S3 are mapped to these signal points, but for a fixed time. Suppose this vertical dotted line, if you can see this vertical dotted line is for some fixed time t. So at this time, we can say that this our x t1, like s1 is going to this point, s2 is going to this point, and sn is going to this point. So if the time is fixed, the random process like a capital xt, here capital xt, t belongs to j, is a random process. If the time instant t is fixed like x1 or x2, then it becomes a random variable which having values on this real line. You can say this vertical dotted line can be treated as a real line. So when time is fixed, like for a specific time, the random process transform into a random variable. So for example, here you can see that the random process X, this S is a S1 is a sample point, and it is mapped to this signal. And similarly, S2 is mapped to this signal, or X3 is mapped to this signal. And this vertical red dotted line you can see, they are intersecting at these 3 points, this one, and this one. So when this time t equal to t1 is fixed, these three fixed, it means x t1. So now x t1 is a random variable taking this value. Similarly, for time t2, it's taking this value 1, this is 2, and this is 3. These three values are taken by the random variable capital X in bracket t2. So when time is fixed, the random process is actually random variable. So in terms like and this each is known as the realization. Each signal is known as the realization for sample point S1, S2 is a different realization, and for sample 3 is another realization. And if we talk about together, then it is known as ensembles of realization, or then we say that it's a random process. So we come to here the main definition of the random process that you have to write if it will be asked in the exam. A random process is a collection of time functions or signals corresponding to various outcomes of a random experiment. For each outcome, there exists a deterministic function which is called the sample function or a realization. So for each outcome, it means when S1 is fixed, so this blue signal is a realization for S1, this blue signal is a realization for S2, and this yellow signal is also realization for some sample points, say Si. And then again, the last blue signal is again a realization. Okay. So for each outcome, there exists a deterministic function which is called the sample function or realization. So these are the terminology, realizations and sample function for specific sample point S1, say S2 and Sk. And sample means altogether. We are talking about altogether. So for a fixed point tk, like when I say that this t equals to tk is fixed, then x, tk and s. So here you can see that in this remark first point, the t is fixed by the point tk, but s is still moving. It's a variable from the sample space. It is not fixed. It is neither s1 nor s2. It may be anything. So sample point is varying, but time is fixed. Then this becomes a random variable. For example, this vertical line you can see. For instance, time equal to t2. So some author like xtk because I told you that this notation is also used where t is understood. So like when time t equal to phase, then this random process take these 3 points and these 3 points define a random variable. Next point is like if t is varying, but sample point is fixed. You can see the second remark point. The sample point is fixed, Sj is fixed, but time is varying. So is a single realization or the random process and it is the deterministic function. So sample realization. Actually यहाँ पे ये single give है sample realization होगा. Okay. So because when time is moving and the sample point is fixed, then we get this kind of wave, and this is known as the sample realization. Okay. And the third point, when this sample point is also fixed and the time is also fixed. As j is fixed, time tk is fixed, is just a real number. So like it's a real number and it's a real number. We does not have much use because it's only single value. So when time is also fixed and the sample point is fixed, so it's a real number. And when both time and the sample points are varying, we have the random process xts. In the full form notation is like this: left bracket xts. You cannot. See, so I think again audible to everyone. So what here we are here actually the random process, this bold line, that random process x t comma x semicolon colon t belongs to j and s belongs to x is actually the random process usually denoted by xt, t belongs to j, where s belongs to s is understood. Okay, so this is the way we define the random process. So I already talked about this also. A continuous time random process is a process xt. Here s is there. Okay, keep this thing in your mind. S is always there. T comma s is there. Xt, t belongs to j, where g is an interval on the real line. Interval on the real line like this, maybe this, or like this, or like any one of them like this, because they are uncountable sets. So that's why it is called the continuous time random process. And discrete time random process is a random sequence. Sometimes some author use this word also. Discrete time random process or random sequence is a random process xn equals to xn and belongs to j. So here like this is taking only countable set. This j is a countable set. And countable set, you know that either a finite set or set of natural numbers, set of integer, set of rational set of rational numbers. So like this, if this is kind of thing are there, then we say that it's a discrete time random process or a random sequence. So now we take one example. So like you have $100,000 to put in an account with the interest rate R compounded annually. That is, if Xn is the value of the account at the year end, then this is the formula, the compound interest will be calculated like this, because this $100,000 is your investment and the interest rate is R, and you are investing for an year with compounded. So compoundedly, which means Xn is the output you will get after n. And in this output, the R is the random variable that is determined when you put your money in the bank. So, like if we today we go and save $1,000, then maybe the interest rate today is different and tomorrow is different. So, like this. So, this R is having a randomness, but it does not change after that. So, once it is fixed, so it will not change. So, in particular, assume that R is uniform. So, like if I am assuming my interest rate is ranging from 0.4 to 0.5 uniformly. So, here, if you remember the notation earlier, I told you that uniform is a uniform random variable within the interval AB. Here, A is 0.04 and B is 0.05. So this the randomness is coming in this realization is from this R. So for fixed R, we have one like for every year we will calculate, like for one having one value, for one equal to two, it's having different value for fixed R. So here the first question is, find all possible sample function for the random process x1 n goes to 0, 1 to n. So you think, like earlier I am telling that xt is the random process where t belongs to j. But when we talk about the discrete time random processes, we generally use this notation xn. Here n like t, and n is moving from 0 to 1 to this. So we say that this 0, 1, 2, 3 is like our j set because it is countable. So this is our random process, and xn comma s is always there, the sample points, and sample point is this r, and taking values from the this uniform distribution within the interval 0.04 to 0.05. And the second question is to find the expected value of your account at year 3. So that is, we have to calculate expectation of x3. We will see this problem. Here the randomness in xn comes from the random variable capital R. As soon as you know capital R, you know the entire sequence xn for n goes to 0. So if capital R, like if you remember that when we are discussing this random variable, capital X is a random variable and its take the value small x. So similarly here, capital R is the random variable and it takes the value small r. Then xn equals to 1000, 1 plus r raised to power n for fixed r, and n goes to 0 to 1 to infinity. So when you have selected one value r, you will get one signal. So this is, it means it is sample realization or sample function for the fixed small r. So thus here sample function are of the form this, where r belongs to 0.04 to 0.05 for any r. So you obtain like this. Now we go to this x3, because x3 is the money you will obtain after 3 years, but you have to know what is the expected value. So first you calculate x3. X3, it means you have to substitute 3 in place of n and you will get this. And then here we know that r is a uniform random variable. So if r is a uniform random variable and here it is y equal to 1 plus r. So y is also a uniform random variable by adding 1 into a and 1 into b also. That is 1.04 comma 1.05. So like that. So y equals to 1 plus r, then y is uniform 1.04 to 1.05. So if y is uniform in the interval 1.04 to 1.05, then the density function of y is equals to 1 upon 1.05 minus 1.04. It means 1 upon 0.01, and that is turned out to be hundreds when y lies between 1.04 to 1.05, because this is a uniform random variable. So in uniform we have, this is the definition of the density function. Now you have density function, then you have to calculate the expectation of x3. So expectation of x3 means this: 1000 y cube. 1 plus r is y cube. Since 1000 is a constant, and we know that constant can easily, having same value, come out from the expectation, and the remaining expectation on the y is actually 1 plus r, so y is to power 3. Now we have to integrate, because is the density function of y is 0 other than this domain 1.4 to 1.05. So we'll integrate in the domain 1.04 to 1.05, that is 100 into, because 100 is the value of the density function and y is already here. So 100 into y cube dy. Then already 1000 is outside, and this 100 is also go outside from the integration. So 10 raised to power 5, and the integration of y cube is y4 by 4. And this is like 1.04 to 1.05. And finally, after integration simplification of, you will get 141.2 is the expected outcome after year 3. Now we have another example. This is a, so here it is like a continuous time process, because we are taking xt. So this is the general terminology you can keep in your mind. Like when I talk about xt, it means I'm talking about continuous, and when I write xn, it means it's a discrete time random process. Xt means continuous time random process. So here xt is defined by a plus bt, and where t belongs to 0 to infinity. So this is the j set. The capital J set is here 0 to infinity, where a and b are independent, normal, 1 random variable. So you already know that normal distribution. In normal distribution, it is n mu sigma square. So here mu is 1 and sigma square is also 1. Now, A and B are independent. This is also one more information, that A and B are independent. So the randomness in this coming from A and B. And A and B are following normal distribution with mean mu and variance mu 1 also. So first, find all possible functions for this random process. So sample function or sample realization we have to find. Second, define the random variable y equal to x1, because when the time is fixed, because xt is a random process, and when t is fixed, like here t equal to 1, it's a random variable. So if y equal to xt, we have to find its probability density function, that is pdf of y. Let also z equal to x2. So the z is also another random variable for t equal to 2. So we substitute t equal to 2 and we will get z. And then we have to calculate expectation of y into z. So here we denote the randomness in xt comes from the two random variable a and b. The random variable a can take any real value. A belongs to r, because it is, if you remember this normal density function, the density function of normal is 1 upon sigma under root 2 pi e raised to power x minus mu whole square upon 2 sigma square, where small x is belonging from minus infinity to plus infinity. So minus infinity to plus infinity is means set of real number. So a can take any real value. A, small a we are representing. Like earlier, capital X is the random variable and small x the value taken by the random variable. So here capital A is the random variable and small a is the value taken by the random variable capital A, and that small a belongs to the set of real number for the case of normal distribution. The random variable b also can take any value b from the set of real number. As soon as we know the value of the random variable capital A and capital V, the entire process xt in particular like this. If you write a equal to small a and b equal to small b, you will get this. So these are the sample realizations. So sample points here a comma b. Like if this sample points is having two random variable capital X, like capital A and capital B, and we are having sample point like A comma B. And for A comma B, we are having the value like xt equals to A plus bt for all t belongs to B. So in general, you choose any 2 points A, small b, then you will get this kind of function. So this is known as the sample function. So thus here the sample function are of the form ft a plus bt t greater than or equal to 0 because this is the way t defined. Here a b belongs to a set of real number. So this is the like a sample function or sample realization of the random process xt. Now we have xt equals to a plus bt, and in particular when x t equal to 1 we have to find the probability density function of y. So we substitute t equal to 1, that is a plus b. So now because a and b are random variable, time is fixed, so it's the sum of two random variables, so y is also random variable. Since a and b are independent and 1 1, so if the two random variables are independent normal, if then their sum is also a normal random variable. So this is the result you remember in your mind. If you are having two normal random variable and they are independent, then their sum is always a normal random variable. So here it is given that a and b are independent normal random variables. So y equal to a plus b is also a normal random variable. So this information we have. Now if somehow we know that what is the mean of y and what is the variance of y. So if we know the mean or variance of y, then we can easily write its probability density function, because we know that y is having normal distribution because it's the sum of two independent normal random variables. So we calculate the expectation of y. Okay, expectation of y equals to expectation of a plus b. And you know that this expectation can be rewritten as like expectation of a plus expectation of b. So what is expectation of a? If you remember, there is the general this x follows normal n mu sigma square. So here a follows n 1 1. So it means expectation of a is 1 and variance of a is also 1. So similarly, for b also, b is also n 1 1. So I'm writing the value of expectation of a1, expectation of b1. So I'm getting the expectation of y as 2. Now I calculate what is the variance of y. So variance of y is equals to variance of a plus b. And if you remember the result, this one, variance of ax plus by equal to a square variance of x plus b square variance of y plus 2ab covariance of x comma y. But you know that this x and y are independent, so it means their covariance is 0. It means they are not dependent on each other. So this part is 0. And a is equal to 1 and b is also equal to 1. So this variance of a plus b can be rewritten as variance of a plus variance of b. So now what is variance of A? So this information is already provided us that A is a normal and 1 1. So its variance is 1. Similarly for B also its variance is also 1. That is 1 plus 1 equals to 2. Now y is a normal random variable and we have already calculated its mean. Mean is 2 and variance is also 2. So y is normal to 2. So normal to 2 means its density function can be written as 1 upon sigma. Sigma is 2 square root of 2 into under root 2 pi e raised to power x minus q. Mu is also 2 divided by 2 into sigma square. Sigma square is also 2. So 2 into 2 is 4. So finally we have this is the probability density function of y. Now we have another problem is to calculate expectation of yz. So to calculate the expectation of yz, first we know that y is actually a plus b, but what about z? Z is x2, so it means a plus 2b. Because if you remember, na, this xt is defined by the like this. In the top you can see xt equals to a plus bt. So if you put t equal to 2, you will get z equals to x2 a plus 2b. So you substitute the value of y and z here, you will get a plus b plus a plus 2b. And then you multiply the inside part, you will get a square plus 3ab plus 2b square. Then you take this expectation on each and every term, you will get expectation of a square plus 3 into expectation of ab plus 2 into expectation of b square. So how you calculate expectation of a square? And how you calculate this expectation of b square? And what is happened to this expectation of ab? If you know that it is given in the question that a and b are independent. So if a and b are independent, it means expectation of their product is equal to product of their expectation. So this expectation of ab can be written as expectation of a into expectation of b. And expectation of A is 1 and similarly expectation of B is also 1. So this part is simplified. Now this expectation of A square is remaining the problem. So you know that in the question it is given that this left side variance of A is equals to expectation of A square minus expectation of A whole square. So but we know that this n A is n11, so it means variance of A is equals to 1. So from here we can write now expectation of A square equal to variance of A plus expectation of A whole square. Variance of A is 1, expectation of A is 1, so 1 plus 1 is 2. So it means expectation of A square is 2. You substitute here. Similarly, you can calculate for B and it will again turn out to be 2. So 2 plus 3 plus 4, you will get 9. So this is the way you solve the problem. Okay. So to stop here. If you have anything to ask, you can ask. Otherwise, we will meet again tomorrow, and the attendance is given to all of you. So no need to bother about attendance for today's class. So, leaving.